I had this theory the other day that God has entered the world and he gave himself amnesia as a baby, so he didn't know he was God. And then his life is a 30-year process of figuring out who he truly is, which is the creator of the universe. And the way that he set it up before he gave himself amnesia and incarnated as a human that used to be God and will be God again, he had his angels supporting him with supportive messages in the music and the media. So a lot of conspiracy theorists will make everything out to be bad, but anyone who's seen like Tom Hanks is like bad, right? Because he was pro COVID. He was part of the COVID agenda. But anyone who's seen Forrest Gump knows that can make you cry and it can change your entire perspective on life. And I came up with a new word, which is enthrallment. I don't know if that's a word, because enthralling is a word, but what about enthrallment? Because I turned on Forrest Gump the other day and I couldn't turn it off until he had saved Bubba, you know. But enthrallment. But anyway, the master of words right now, in my opinion, would be Jordan Peterson. And I believe I'm good at it too. But he's the best I've seen at cutting people down in modern day. Now, Nietzsche, I would say, is the best author. Better than George Orwell. Less enjoyable than Orwell. But more potent per sentence. More philosophical potency than Orwell's narrative gesturing and gesturing. But I'm not here to impress anybody in this video. I'm on heavy medication, Depakote. Don't have a lot of energy. Happy Labor Day. It's my day off. I've been building it up in my head, like if I can just get a camera and I can get a microphone and I can afford all these things, I'll have a better YouTube video. But the truth is, even my Google phone I want to upgrade, but the truth is my Google Pixel 4a is phenomenal. Unless you're comparing it to like super modern technology, the microphone and the camera on this phone and this data storage, even at 128 gigs, that's still so I was balancing it. So one thing I could use is like a balancer. I actually used my Michael scrap paper to balance it on this. But it just fell. But I made some cards today. They're like this. And I've been handing them out. And I actually got someone to reach out to me. And put it up here. It's been a good day. The point I was making is there is no point. That's a line from Matrix 3. Is the old wise counselor. He just says, I'm too old to make points. And when I was under observation, I went to the psych ward twice recently, and both times I was basically in my mind, declaring myself to be king, or at least getting the highest position I can and screaming on the rooftops, I want to tell everyone that I met Jesus in real life. And who wouldn't if you did, right? But even before I met him, I was doing this type of behavior. I've been doing it since I got out of coding boot camp 5 years ago. But I know I'm crazy, but I just watched The Invisible Man. Oh, and the God thing I said about in the beginning, that only occurred to me to be able to call myself a God, you know? But it could apply to anyone. The theory is that there are angels, and the stars that you see on the media, some of them are actually angels giving hidden messages to awaken, you know, the lion sleeps no more, David Icke. To awaken the human race to their true potential. Like Hoodie Allen, I used to listen to like many years ago, and he has a song called You Are Not a Robot. Right now I'm parked perpendicularly because there's no cars in this entire parking lot. And I have no business here. I just was going for a drive. I saw an empty parking lot, and I decided to park in the middle of it. And like a robot could walk by and say, oh, you're taking up 3 parking spaces, you a-hole. But the reality is there's 300 parking spaces I can see around me in 360 degrees. So me parking perpendicularly doesn't become a problem unless there's Britney Spears and Kanye West and they're live streaming in this parking lot and all the cars need to come. And they're hooking up. But shit, I'll try to get lower. Ba, ba, ba. I get mad, but I'm also very glad most of the time. But I gotta have money, you know? Gotta have just a little bit. Otherwise, you're in trouble. Google said to me today, problem free is the way to be. I watched The Invisible Man today, the one with the woman who's a good actress. I forget her name. Like Ann Moss. And she said in the movie, she visits her sister. See, okay, I do have one thing I want to say. This is like Elam coming out in me right now. Like the Elam energy of like, listen to me. Listen to this one thing. This one point I have to make. Ann Moss, Elizabeth Moss, I think. Elizabeth Moss goes to her sister's house in the movie where she's being tortured and followed by the Invisible Man. And the Invisible Man has faked his own death, so he's truly invisible. He's dead and he's invisible, you know? So he's doubly improbably there. So when Elizabeth Moss is complaining to her sister about him, she arrives at her sister's doorway, and her sister doesn't even let her in and says, it's nice to know where we stand. And Elizabeth Moss is like, what are you talking about? What the fuck? Her name's Cecilia in the movie. And then the sister goes, I got your email this morning. See, Elizabeth Moss never sent the email. It was the Invisible Man sending it from her email address, like hacking. See, I view it as hacking, but because he's invisible, he could theoretically open up her laptop, send a hateful email, and then close it and get away with invisibility. But in modern technology, I won't say but somebody, Mr. Robot guy, could hack. Like, I have to face the facts that a lot of the friends in my life that I've lost
it's possible that they've received emails from me or messages from me that I never sent. It's possible. It's technologically possible. I'm not saying I'm worth it, right? Like, oh, you're delusional. Well, and there's another great line. I'll let you know when I'm done with my one point. So the email has been sent. She didn't know the email has been sent. So her sister doesn't even let her in. And she goes, it's Adrian. He sent the email. I didn't do it. And the sister goes, Adrian is dead. You need to be on medication. And closes the door. And the audience member knows that Adrian is not dead. And that Elizabeth Moss didn't send the email. And that she doesn't need to be on medication. But the people around her are concluding because you're complaining about a dead guy, because you're complaining about a person who's presumed to be dead is still following you, you are crazy. And see, a lot of my beliefs are considered insane because you can't see the invisible man that is doing things to me. The Illuminati. You know? I like to think that I'm the invisible man. I can look at things from 100 different angles. Like a crystal. I have a crystalline perspective. Inside, reflecting outward, and back in. Like the invisible man's suit. Where he's got a camera in every direction. And all those cameras feed back into his invisibility cloaking technology. And I'll tell you, from a young man, when I first got my car and I would go for drives at night and it was just me on the road, you know, I would think to myself, and I even thought this when I was a little boy, I thought, even though it's a red light, I'm not going to run it, even though there's no cars I can see, because what if an invisible car is going by and they just have a green light and they're not paying attention because they know they have a green light, they're not like alert, and I peel in front of them on my red light because I don't see them because they're invisible, and then there's an accident. Because logically, it just intuitively, it made sense to me that invisible cars would exist. And then there's a great scene in the show The Peripheral where invisible cars collide with real cars, and a squad from the future, you know, comes into the past, or maybe it's just a past squad with future technology, I think is the way to look at it. But that's a great show. But I think I'm done with my one point. My one point was emails can be sent from you without your knowledge, not in your sent folder. Although she was able to read it though. So it would be in your sent folder in the movie version. But in real world today, you could be sending emails, sending texts without knowing it, and they're not showing up on your end. And the only way to break that spell is to meet face to face. And one of the things I said when I was under observation, there was this nurse that was taking care of me, and she was like, we were talking philosophy and religion, and I was treating her like an equal, like a very valuable woman, even though she wasn't young and super attractive like how I would normally value a woman. I was being kind and generous, and I was operating under the assumption that maybe this nurse, although she's not young and hot, maybe she has wisdom that is more valuable, or maybe she just deserves a nice guy right now. And I try to treat everyone as if they're placed there by God for me to as a gift to explore, to help or to help me, or both. So anyway, I'm hitting it off with this nurse, and then she says, we start talking about getting coffee. Like, I would love to get coffee with you, and we'll discuss philosophers. And that to me is not a lie. I'm a lonely guy with basically no nearby friends. I mean, I'm friends with. There's a guy who lives in an apartment next to me that wants to play guitar with me, and then there's a guy I met the other day that reached out to me that I gave my card to. I was wearing my wizard robe. But I don't have women to get coffee with, even though I would like to. And I told her, only trust this. Eye-to-eye communication. Because we're entering a realm, we're entering a mode of being or a timescape where AI is going to start faking people out. And not only that, but you can get hacked. As if there was an invisible man. I don't think there are invisible men running around using your physical phone. But you can't rely. You understand what I'm trying to say? The movie, The Invisible Man, the remake with Elizabeth Moss, is about how even when you know something is happening, everyone will think you're crazy if the thing that's happening wants that to happen. And it has powerful resources the way he does. So, but I like to think of myself, if you want to see the Sermon on the Cloud, let me know. I went on for 5 hours about how Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, Tom Cruise is invisible to the facial recognition software because he has a homie that's hacking the cameras and making his face show up on everybody. So it's like, let's say hypothetically I'm on God's team here and I'm fighting God's battle. You can't catch me. The moment you want to target me, I'm everywhere at once and nowhere. And Nietzsche has a great line. He says, I'm reading Thus Spoke Zarathustra, and he says, at the beginning, he says, this is a book for everyone and no one. And I know exactly what he means. I know exactly how he felt. He and I are the most lonely people of all time. Besides maybe Jesus. Could surpass us both put together. But what he's saying is, this is the best I can do, the most digestible philosophy of all time with my message, and yet none of you will be able to get it. But I'm going to do it anyway. And that's what he did. And that's what I've done. One time I wrote a post on my blog and I said, a post for no one. And I just went off on all the things I wanted to say but never could because I knew no one would understand, and everyone would, not only would they not understand, but they would misunderstand, like easily misunderstand, like be way off so fast that it would make me look bad. And I knew it. So I named it A Post for No One. I'm half as clever as Nietzsche. I didn't say a post for everyone and no one. But I said a post for no one. And that was before I read it by Nietzsche. But anyway, I'm talking to myself predominantly. But some of these lyrics in these songs, like, if you really listen to what they're saying, because I know, because I write songs, and I'll put in certain themes and certain, I'll get what I need to say out in the rhyme at the right time with a good song that writes itself. And Red Hot Chili Peppers, man, that dude's rapping and he's singing, and you can't even tell when he's doing either. And he see, there's lines in Stadium Arcadium in the album where he says, there's a song called Strip My Mind. There's a song called Torture Me. To me, that sounds like my spectral sim plan of when I was 19 years old, and I said, I need to donate my brain to science at this age, and I need to, I can't go to war and catch a bullet, be a waste to humanity. So what I do is I want to speak to the CIA. I want to donate my body. I've lived a good life. Kill me now if you have to. I consent. Torture me if you have to see when I break. To see how far I can go. Torture me, yeah, torture me. Torture me, yeah, torture with me. So I know myself. Or whatever that song is. Torture me. It's giving an order to a subordinate CIA operative, telling them to torture me. And then there's also the, because I predicted a struggle. I knew that the rulers of this world that was so pathetic would try to beat me in my plan to make it better. For everyone. Not just me. I already got it, bro. Lights out. I didn't want to go do a 9 to 5 and be subordinate to someone who I know for a fact was dumber than me. Because I was better at getting what I wanted, and I was like a Super Saiyan intellect at that age. And I was honest with one person, and it was my girlfriend. And now she doesn't speak to me, and who knows what she's gotten from me that I never even sent. You know? But anyway, the next song on the album is called Strip My Mind. And it says, please don't strip my mind. Leave something behind. So what I'm saying, if you believe in the Donald Marshall Maxwell Jan situation that I described in the Sermon on the Cloud, I would be, if I wrote the lyrics to that song and Anthony Kiedis is an angel, I would be saying, in the plan, I would say, don't take away what I already have. Leave me how I am, but moving forward, do whatever you want. But leave something behind. Let me have my memories. Let me have who I am to face what's to come, which is going to be Mission Impossible. And Dead Reckoning is, I looked it up, the meaning is like you're in a ship and you throw out like an anchor, and the Dead Reckoning is the stable object lets you know how fast you're going. You use the relativity of the dead weight and how you're going forward, something to do with those two things, and then you call the dead weight the Dead Reckoning. And It's like Matthew from Quantum of Conscience would say, the river of insanity. Or Brand New would say, this ship of fools I'm on will sink. You know, like where the world has gone is insane. But then you have me, who's just still that guy with that old way of thinking that becomes new. And the verse pops in my mind, you should not put new wine into old wineskins, which is a really tricky one to wrap your mind around. And I won't even try. I'm too meted out right now. But I did get excited when it comes to that scene where Elizabeth Moss cannot convince anyone. And the people that are treating her at the mental hospital are nice. They don't know. To them, it's just another crazy person. But see, I'm so fish out of water. I'm so personable. I'm overwhelmingly personable. So sane, in truth, in interactions, personably, it's always, wow, you seem well. I've heard so much crazy shit about you. Well, maybe none of it is real. Maybe none of the texts I've sent you that are crazy even came from me. How do you know, other than when we've physically been together and I've behaved normally, as everyone admits? Name one thing you've seen with your own eyes that I've done that is irrational. You know what I mean? It's always, oh, you seem so good. Maybe it's because I am. Maybe it's because I always have my head on straight, even when it seems like I don't. But I'll cooperate. I need help, financial help, because I was brutalized by two 52-50 holds that should have been 51-50s and automatically become 50. It's unjust. They keep moving you around, so no one has the balls to like say, we know this guy, let's release him. But anyway, there was one point where this woman was named, her name started with a T, and she was working the first psych ward I was at last month. And I walked up to her, and we had probably had interactions before. I won't be in a situation where I haven't made peace with everyone around me, period. It's the first thing I'll do is introduce myself to like everyone in a peaceful way, so I have a mental map of the people around me and I'm at peace with all of them. And if any of them are agitated, I immediately will extinguish that. It's the first thing I do. So I have this mental map of people rather than places. And I'll have my map, and then so everyone knows me. And then I go up to get to know you better at the right moment. And I said to T, what's your name again? You know, because I try to remember everyone's name. That's part of my mapping as a pseudo-scientist. Thus, pseudo-scientist. And the fucking girl says, the woman says, or I say, what's your name? She says, you know, it's T. And I say, does that mean, do you know what it means? And she goes, no. And I go, I think it means beautiful. And she says, I never thought about what it means, because you know how names have meaning. Like Sarah means princess of the Rainbow Angels. But anyway, after I said, I think it means beautiful, I turned around and I walked away. And she was like, no, stop, wait. What are you doing here? Like, I've seen enough. Why are you here? Like, what? And imagine how many legally insane people she's dealt with in her job, and how seldom she has said, stop right there, tell me your story. You know what I mean? Like, why are you here? And I gave her like a Mission Impossible line, which is like, there's a start of a Mission Impossible movie where they're breaking Tom Cruise out of prison, and when they break him out, they say, how was prison? And Tom Cruise says, let's just say, if they want me out here instead of in there, things must be pretty bad out here. So I gave her that, but in reverse, the inverse. I said, if the people out there want me, because she could tell I'm peace. I'm just peace, man. I'm just, what's your name? And then I'll spin it in a way to change your mind and lift your spirits. And oh my God, I do it on a daily, moment-to-moment basis with everyone I interact with, period. So, I say, if people want me in here instead of out there, that's bad news for the people out there. And I'm basically saying, if this society is so sick that Max Jan has to stand on the roof of his car and claim alpha, or just dance and make people laugh because they're all so solemn all of the time in their cars, driving to places they don't want to go to, fast, aggressively, or just like lost souls, you know? Give it to me. If I have to do that, imagine how fucked up the world is when I'm this peaceful dude who just wants to chill. We don't need to work as much as we work. We're being stepped on like bugs. And that's why we're scattering and frantically working all the time. You know, I believe in a good work ethic more than anyone I know. And yet I'm scolded for not working hard enough. Because dollar bill, y'all. There's work that doesn't give you money. Like working for the Lord, which guarantees you don't make money. I've been taking the pills. I still feel the same way. I think I could take 6 pills of Depakote for 6 years and I'd still say, make me king. As we move toward a new world order, a normal life is boring, but superstardom's close to post-mortem. What Eminem is saying there is, I'm probably gonna get killed by being a star, but I'm gonna do it anyway, because a normal life is boring when the world is burning. Superstardom's close to post-mortem. And these times are so hard, it's getting even harder. Trying to water my seed, plus teeter-totter, caught up between being a father and a prima donna. My baby mama's too much. See, I would be the cat's pajamas. Off the meds, I would hit that on the right cadence, at the right beat. I'm slow on my feet, but I'm weak. And what's wrong with that? Boy, I need a starter cap. I'm eggsy. And what's wrong with that? What I was saying throughout my whole mental episode was today I have faith. I would oscillate between faith and doubt. Like, does she love me? She loves me not. She loves me not. A. And I would say, today I will have faith in God and Jesus, that he's real and he loves me, and that I'm working for him, and I'll be rewarded in this life or the next. Like, I would say today I have faith, tomorrow I will have doubt. Like, not today, Satan, as my friend has bumper sticker. Not today, doubt. Like, I would just say, today I have faith, tomorrow I will think about reevaluating my whole philosophy. But today I will have faith. And then every day I would just do that again. So I would just be like, today I have faith. Tomorrow it will be rational to revisit my questions about the universe and the creator of it, and like my whole plan, you know. But today I will have faith. And that got me into trouble because you simply wouldn't believe the things that I've done and gotten away with. Like everyone, it's funny to me. It's not funny because it's costing people money. It costs my dad money, and that's not funny. It's not funny. I had a dream recently where I promised my dad after the second psych ward, when he paid for my car out of the impound lot, which was unjustly impounded because I was stuck in a psych ward when I was just dancing, like, let me fucking out so I can get my car out so it's not accruing $100 a night, you know? Sorry I can't pay that, you know? But I said to the cops in my dream I was arrested a third time, and it was like, oh fuck. I swore I'm taking my meds and I'm not behaving. They gave me probation for a year. I didn't get in trouble for 366 days. And then I was like, okay, it's time to explore again with what I can get away with. And I can get away with a lot. I can change the lives of thousands around me. Because I have no fear. I'll climb a flagpole like that song and start singing. Flagpole sitta. There's nothing I won't do. And there's nothing I won't get away with until I reach the point where the cops are called and they get me, you know, when I step over the line too much. But when the cops got me, I have a story to talk about when the cops got me the second time, but when they got me the third time, I was dreaming, because I've decided in honor of my dad, who paid for my rent and that I missed, you know, my lost wages and my impounded car. In honor of him, I will not get arrested for a very long time until he's okay with it. And I will take my meds as well in honor of him, because that's what he wants me to do. And that's what I want to do in honor of everyone around me that wants me to do that. So fine, I can't do this without you guys. I'll take the meds. But see, I still believe certain things, like the invisible man is still persecuting me, and I can prove it if you ignore the email that I didn't send you and you let me show you the evidence. But anyway, so in my dream, there's this black cop and he's looking at me, and he's kind of having a good time, and I realize that I'm handcuffed, and it's the third time, and now my life is over because, oh, how did they get me? Like I knew internally this doesn't make sense. How am I here? Because in a dream they just put you on stage 7. They don't explain how you got there. You're just there all of a sudden. And so I'm there all of a sudden, but I'm internally thinking, what mistake did I make that got me arrested when I'm in do not get arrested mode, which is a different mode than I was in August after my probation ended in August 4th. That's why it was timed like that, because I switched modes and I messed up while switching. I went too far twice. But the third time, no way. Fool me can't get fooled again. So the third time, I go to the cop. I say, it's not fucking funny. Or you know what I said? I said, fuck you. And he was like, all right. Because they were being nice to me, the cops in my dream. He was like, all right. And then he like tightened the handcuffs and like was going to start like torturing me or something. And I remember just thinking, I know for a fact that I wouldn't betray my dad and be arrested again. So I don't know what game you're playing here, but this isn't real. You're not a real cop. I'm not really here. And then I was able to break out of that dream. And dreams are dangerous. I never sleep, because sleep is the cousin of death. Nasty Nas. If I ruled the world. Imagine that. Anyway, I came out the womb asking who God was and asking what everyone believed. I'd be like, wait, so let me get this straight. You guys are waiting for a savior? I mean, I'm not sure exactly what I said to my mom, but I had her scratching her head at 5 years old, trust me, in the car rides. And one time I made my friend named Max laugh so hard we got in a car crash. And we never spoke of it again. But I touched him in a spot in his stomach. Like, I was probably like, you realize how awesome it is to be a kid, right? Like, they just cater to our every need. Like, I can ask for ice cream right now and I bet you she'll take us, and he was giggling. He knew it was true. Like, humor comes from truth. And I was laying it on him like, our parents are all just slaves to us, like children rule the world. And I don't know, that's my hypothesis of what made him laugh. But the point is, I touched him in a spot and kept tickling him there intellectually at a young age, like 8 years old or something. And we got in the worst car crash I've ever gotten into, and it may or may not have been caused by that. But there are things that I remember that other people deny. Who's to say your memories are even your own or safe? You could have your memories altered. But mine, I have the sense that mine can't be. I think I have superpowers. You don't believe me? Watch this. Alright, goodbye. God bless you. God bless me. And God bless the United States of America. Long live Cloudland. The resistance you've been waiting for, it's right here. Just test me. Call me out. Challenge me to a fair fight. And I'll win.